Hi, good morning, everyone. Bonjour. A very good morning to all of you on this raining Sunday. My name is Finn. I'm the HR for Arkema. We would like to thank you, the organizer, for giving us this opportunity to present you our very interesting four presenter on the line. We have Miao, Wang Miao. He's our senior research scientist. He was with Arkema, Arkema China before, and now transferred to Singapore to continue the efforts of R&D in Singapore. We have Benjamin Earl as our second presenter. He is one of our business unit called Thiochemicals. Let's hear from let's hear from him later on. And next, we will have Cristiano Vinata. He's actually working with High Performance Polymer Business Unit. He will tell us a little bit more about his passion and work experience later. And lastly, we will have EE. During his 9 years with Arkema, he has moved laterally from one business unit to another business unit. We shall not wait furthermore, and let's welcome Miao. Miao, the floor is yours.
Hello everyone. So very glad to join this event and share our experiences. Before sharing my personal experiences, I will give a very short introduction of our company, who we are, and what we do globally and in Singapore. So for sharing, so Finn, I have to share myself, or you will sharing in my place?
Okay, let me just share my screen. Can everyone see my screen now?
I think yes.
Okay, Miao, you can go ahead.
Yeah. I think so. Today, if I'm to people don't familiar with us with Arkema, so I will give a short introduction. So we are a global presented, a French-based company, globally present. We are a specialty materials designer and producer and world leader in specialty materials. Our activities, our business can be classified in three main domains, so adhesive solutions, coating solutions, and advanced materials. In terms of development and products, so next slide, please. So in terms of products and activities, so our innovation platform can be found in five platforms, so clean mobility, urbanization, environment, industrial, future industrial, and the lifestyle. So what we can do, the consumer goods, the sports goods, etc. So that's our main domains. In terms of sales, so you can see as we are a specialty material producer, so our sales based on 2021 figure, so 9.5, more than 9 billion euros. What we from the three main domains, more than 85%, and the last intermediate will be shrinking progressively. So in terms of markets, so our sales actually is a very balanced in terms of markets and geographical footprint. So next slide, please. Thank you. So our target, as I mentioned, it's by 2024 we will transform to a pure specialty material player. So that's our target. So to reach this target, so what we will rely on, so first is our people, so our customers, our collaborators, and our R&D people, and our new talents. Each year we will recruit, as shown here, more than 2,000 talents each year. So next slide, please. So actually, one thing is our people, and the other thing is innovation. So in terms of innovation, we have globally more than 1,600 researchers and 60 R&D partnerships, and also dispatched in 16 R&D centers all over the world. And each year we generated more than 200 patents, and 2.6% of sales will be allocated to R&D each year. And also more than 1 billion euro sales is generated purely from our R&D activities. So next slide. So at the end, I will emphasize, so all of our targets reaching or our performance are guided to our great company values, so simplicity, performance, solidarity, empowerment, and inclusion. So today we will not have enough time to show all these details, but you can find it from our website, from or join our company to feel our great company values. So next, I will give a very short introduction of our activities in Singapore. So in Singapore, we invest to plant a new plant to give the offer of advanced biocircular materials. What is it? It's a high performance material from 100% from stock from castor oil, and we transform castor oil to amino 11, and these magical chemicals can be transformed to a high performance polymers PA11, which can be used in various domains, and it finally can be recycled via our work cycle program to be reused and reused. So the impact of this product to the environment is very positive, and we launched a program in India named Pragati to help the castor cultivator, the farmers to adopt more sustainable castor harvest production mode. So that's what we do in Singapore, and we are all these efforts. We built up a global sustainable supply network for a PA11 value chain. That's all from my presentation for Arkema generally, and Finn, can we switch to my self portrait? So I will give a short introduction of myself. Yeah. So in terms of myself, I'm a chemist. So first born in China, and then I was trained in France. So I'm a bicultural chemist. So in terms of my experiences in Arkema, I started my activities in China R&D Center, and as a research engineer to build up the new laboratories and also support the China manufacturing sites, production sites. And since 2020, I was relocated to Singapore and handling the regional R&D activities built up to mainly focus on academia collaborations and also our intercompany projects elaborations, and also support our new manufacturing projects. So actually, I want to say inside Arkema, so it's really a very good environment, and also give us really the good opportunities to reach our self-development, to reach a good future. So I really hope everyone new talents can join us and with us to build a better future. Thank you.
Thank you, Miao. Let's hear more now from Benjamin. Hold on, just let me switch to.
Hi, everyone. So I will follow up from Miao. My sharing will be a little bit more personal and to share on my journey so far, and also to share a little bit more on another business unit separate from what Miao shared, called Thiochemicals. So Finn, you can go to the next slide. Yeah, so just a little bit about myself. I started my education in Singapore, my tertiary education in Singapore at the National University of Singapore. Actually, I'm a mechanical engineer by training, with a minor in entrepreneurship from U of Penn. Spent a year there to do this. My first job is actually with the government, the Singapore government, in an organization called the Economic Development Board. So we bring in foreign investments there. Started off already in the chemical industry, looking at Japan, moved on to Americas, and later on, when the opportunity came, I transitioned into Arkema in 2019, right before COVID, doing a sales and development role. In 2020, also took on a Asia Pacific role in new business development for the oil and gas space. I think a couple of things I wanted to share here, since you're talking to kind of students. Finn, just click the next two. Yep. When I transitioned from a technical degree or education into a purely commercial role, there was a lot of thinking and a lot of planning involved. So I think for students, it's important to look at what you want. Don't be kind of wrapped into only your degree. Look at the path you want and start charting a path as early as you can. There's always a path. And Finn, next one. And also the other transition that I went through in the last few years is moving from government to private sector. The style of work and culture can be different, but there's always opportunities to learn and be open and be prepared for when these opportunities come, and take them when you can. So moving a little bit more to Arkema, when we look at thiochemicals, what do they do? What do we do? Thiochemicals basically means sulfur-based chemicals. Of course, a wide range of products, going to anything from the oil and gas space into the personal care space, into even healthcare in the form of amines, and even into other processes that are not oil and gas related or not upstream oil and gas related. But for me specifically, I look at a product called dimethyl disulfide. This is strictly used within a process space, more or less. For refineries, we use it to do catalyst sulfiding. This entails bringing in people, equipment, and the product during the turnarounds of refineries. We also engage strongly into downstream petrochemicals, in naphtha, ethylene crackers, in propane dehydrogenation. Those we engage in. And later on, I'll share a little bit more, but we're also starting to see a lot of opportunities within the renewable fuels space. So that's kind of what we do, or what I do from a product perspective. In the next slide. From a day-to-day, what you will expect in Arkema as a commercial person, of course, we all engage in regional sales. So myself, I have two roles. The main sales role is in Southeast Asia, Australia, New Zealand. So I engage with distributors and end customers within this region. I travel fairly frequently. I also have a role in new business development for oil and gas opportunities within APAC. That also entails travel within the larger APAC space. So China, Japan, Korea, so on and so forth. Day-to-day commercial negotiations are the bread and butter of a salesperson. What price you're going to sell at, how do you measure what your margin is, how do you strategize certain customers based on volumes, what kind of deal do you give them, account management. With the chemical industry, it's not just about the day-to-day sales. Your customers will be with you for 10 years, 15 years easily, especially for older plants and more established regions. How do you then engage them and maintain that relationship? How do you take over from the guy before you? How do you hand it over to the guy after you? Because the relationship goes beyond just you as an employee. You might rotate, but the company's sell-by arrangements will still be there. Order fulfillment is the other one that becomes a bit of a challenge when it comes to COVID period. We all know that logistics and ports is delayed. How do you continue to keep customers happy And the last I mentioned, technical services. How do we bring the products in? How do we provide not just products, but technical expertise based on our knowledge of the product and the processes involved? How do we value add to the customers? That's what we do as a business unit. The company is strong. The company continues to shift towards specialty chemicals. That is the overarching. On a day-to-day, that's how we support the overarching strategy. On a year-to-year, taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture, we also see that there is a lot of talk recently about the energy transition. How do we make sure that we are a strong corporate supporter of environmental recovery, less pollutive ways to live, to produce, to sell. And a big part of what we do as a business unit is to look at the transition between fossil fuels into renewables. Renewables being fuels made with agricultural waste, agricultural products, unused cooking oils. Those are feedstocks that go into producing basically net zero carbon diesel, gasoline, aviation fuels. The Thiochemicals business unit is also very much a part of that. The product that I have is, of course, currently used in traditional fuel production, but we also see a big push and a big application within the biofuel space. And the product that I support is one of the lifebloods for this production, without which the plants cannot run. So we are very, very much a part of that process and very, very much a part of those applications that working with those companies like Neste, Shell, so on and so forth, looking at these applications and how can we support it further. The year-to-year is also looking at the global macro trends. We know that these few years have been rocky, to say the least. Seeing from the picture, it's a stormy time. But within stormy times, you also see many, many opportunities available out there. If you are able to support customers through this period, you get loyalty. If you're able to deliver and show value, you get better sales. Those are things that as a salesperson we look at. And as a company, we strive to drive that. So to end my part of conversation, I hope this shares a little bit about what we do on day-to-day, what you expect as a commercial member of Arkema. And to end it off, we need to continue to look ahead, chart a path. There's always a path. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Now we hand it to Chris. You want to share with us a little bit more about yourself, your profession, things like that.
Okay, sure. Thanks, Finn. Hi everyone. Very happy to be here to share my experience and also what have brought me to Arkema, and also what do I do on a day-to-day basis in Arkema. So Finn, next slide. Okay, so just a little bit of an introduction about myself. So academically wise, I graduated like Ben. I graduated from National University of Singapore with a Bachelor of Engineering in Material Science and Engineering. After my graduation from my bachelor's degree, I decided to pursue my master's in Master of Science in Polymer Material Science and Engineering. So if you can see, basically, I'm pretty much a material science by training and by heart as well. Especially on polymers. This comes a little bit handy when it comes to my work in Arkema. So after my graduation from University of Manchester, I went to a kind of a research path first in terms of my career. So I started off as a research associate at the Nanyang Technological University in Singapore. That time I was in two research institutes. One is Energy Research Institute at NTU, working on different smart materials that goes into different applications. One of the cool project that I worked on was one project that was funded by BMW. And then after about a year or so, I moved to another group still within NTU, which is called Institute for Sports Research. There it was also very interesting. I was working on some projects like tennis racket with Babola. There was also some projects with Shimano. So some of the notable brands that you probably have heard of. After about 2 years in the research field, then I thought maybe it's time to take a little bit of a more challenge. So I decided to make the jump into the commercial role. And I was lucky enough that Arkema had a position for the opening for the business development engineer for the high performance polymers business unit. At that time, it was called Technical Polymers, but essentially from the moment I joined the company, it was all polymers since day one. And so I started off my career about 5 years ago as a business development engineer for the high performance polymers business unit. And at that time, I was basically looking after all of the consumer goods or more dynamic applications, including sports, footwear, consumer electronics, new energy, and so on and so forth. And pretty much my responsibility was looking after the whole Southeast Asia region, which is a very good start to my career because I was coming from a research, and then straight away I joined to the commercial field, and they immediately gave me a regional sort of responsibility. So after about 2 years in the business development aspect, then they promoted me to start to gradually take over some of the commercial responsibility. So in January 2020, they promoted me to the sales and BD manager position for the new growth market. So pretty much it's still the same application. It's just that they classify this as a new growth segment. So pretty much it will still be the same applications like footwear, consumer goods, consumer electronics, new energy, so on and so forth. And recently, in October 2022, a couple of months ago, I was promoted again to fully take over the sales or commercial position for the region. So for the Southeast Asia region as the regional sales manager. So a little bit of a difference here in the way that the company operates is that the business development and sales are kind of two different roles. In some companies, they may be the same. They may be under the same umbrella of sales or business development, but in Arkema, we kind of specifically split it. So business development is more on the pre-sales, I would say on the technical sales, whereby you are trying to promote the product, promote the solution to your customer, trying to understand the pain points of the customer. Whereas sales is more on the, like what Ben has described, on the key account management, and then working on the relationship and so on and so forth. So it was quite a good transition because it gave me the chance to really have a good understanding of the customers, and also at the same time develop a very good technical knowledge on the products that we are carrying. So a little bit about myself, and I think this is also interesting to share. So myself, I'm a very active individual. I'm a very huge sports enthusiast. And also another aspect is that I love shoes. So I think this comes very handy because eventually from the day one when I joined Arkema, pretty much all my work was related around shoes. So it's pretty much like my passion being transferred into my job. All right, so next slide, Finn. So what, Miao has already gave an introduction about the high performance polymers business unit, but more specifically into what I do. So what does the high performance polymers do in the area of footwear, for example, or consumer goods? Here, basically, we work with a very dynamic team globally, and basically it's collaboration between the different teams in China, in Japan, in Korea, in USA, France, and so on and so forth. And basically, we are managing a very dynamic markets because in the area of consumer goods like footwear or consumer electronics like mobile phones, laptops, and accessories, home appliances, and so on and so forth, this is very dynamic, and the requirement is very, very high because eventually any kind of liability that happens with the products will backfire quite tremendously onto the people who are involved in the value chain. But if we are able to manage all of these challenges or requirements with the kind of products that we are carrying or we are offering, so one of the notable products that we carry is like P-Bags. This is one of the very, very known popular brand name for materials that are used in a lot of footwear products. So, I mean, if you want to take a look at it, there's also, there are a couple of articles now that talk about PVAX materials. So one of the notable goods would be the shoes that was worn by Eliud Kipchoge for the Breaking 2 marathon, and also slightly more closer to the context of France is the latest shoes that was launched by Decathlon, which is the high-end, first ever, I think, high-end running shoes, and trying to compete with the likes of Nike, Adidas, and so on and so forth in terms of competitive road running. So eventually, when these customers use our materials, eventually they will be able to be leaders in the field. So if you look at the recent Olympics in 2021 that was postponed in Tokyo, a lot of the podium leaders for the track and field events, and also even the soccer games top scorers are actually wearing a PVAX powered shoes. So this is quite a huge achievement for the company. All right, next slide. So not going to give you a little bit more details because I think Ben has already sort of shared onto what is the day-to-day responsibility of a salesperson in a chemicals company. But I think I just want to share something that is a little bit more unique in my case is that because I'm working a lot on the footwear aspects and consumer goods, I have had the opportunity to basically talk and even interact with the people from the end users that we are very close to, like, I mean, or we are very familiar, like the likes of Nike. So if you look at the picture in the middle, the photo where you see a lot of people. So that was actually one of a meeting that we organized with Nike together with their suppliers. And basically what we tried to do was we tried to promote Arkema as a global group, not just the high performance polymers, but also the different business units that was introduced by Miao. And so there was this kind of a opportunity to have a close collaboration and communication with the brands and end users. And at the same time, I was also had the opportunity to present Arkema and also the solutions that we have in a couple of conferences. So actually, a couple of weeks ago, I just came back from a conference in Thailand where where I tried to promote and highlight all of the investments that we have done in the realm of sustainable materials. And last but not least, I think one of the very good aspect of working in Arkema, especially in the Singapore office, is that we have quite a close-knit community and with the people in the office. So we have had a couple of CSR activities where we spend half a day with the people from the office. The picture on the bottom right is actually about 3 years ago where we had our walkathon event for charity. And a couple of weeks ago, we actually just had another CSR event that was organized for a charity, and it was a bowling as well. And this is also a good transition because the person who leads the CSR arrangement is EE. So now EE will have the floor to present his side.
Thank you, Chris. So for myself, hi everyone, I'm EE. Maybe we'll talk a little bit more about myself and also to conclude Arkema as a whole. Right. Next slide, please. So first of all, for myself, I did a Bachelor of Engineering in Chemical and Molecular Engineering in NUS. And what is special about the curriculum is that I have the opportunity to go for an exchange program at KTH, which is this Royal Institute of Technology in Sweden, whereby I spent a semester over there. I think it was a very good opportunity for me. There's a lot of cultural exchange, between the Singapore and understanding about our European counterparts. And of course, I think it's also a good opportunity to, not just about studying, but also, traveling around to be immersed, right, into the lifestyle in Europe and in Sweden in general. And that, I think that opened up for me at the beginning when I was young, such that I think it prepared me in the later stage of my life to have a global mindset. And now recalling what I have learned during the exchange is that there is a lot of topics on sustainability. So I think that comes very handy, especially today. The world is transiting, is moving towards a more sustainable world when people are paying more attention to the carbon footprints and etc. And I think that ultimately will impact about how we live and how we operate in our business. So right after I graduated, for me, I think it makes sense for me to join a chemical company. So I started with Arkema in 2013 as an operations engineer. So in fact, my career with Arkema, I joined in two business units. The first is in Thiochemicals and now in high performance polymer. So at the start of my career, like in the first 7 years, I started with an operations engineer from 2013 to 2017, whereby I was in Thiochemicals. And just to relate what Benjamin has mentioned, I was basically involved in the technical support for refinery business, dealing with the chemical dimethyl disulfide, right? So I was given a lot of opportunity to travel around. So a lot of times, a lot of technical support roles are very, based in a plant and desk bound. So I think for Arkema, I was very fortunate, to travel around the world. And moving on, I move on within the same Thiochemical business unit. I move on to a sales role as an engineer. I think the transition for me was very smooth because I was dealing the same range of chemical products when I was the role as an operation engineer. However, there are definitely some differences because I will be talking to different groups of people. In the beginning, as an operational role, I talk with people like the engineers, the process engineers, and the operations engineers. Moving on to the sales role, I talk to people in the procurement and supply chain and etc. So that I would say give me a lot of opportunities to interact and learn from our customers end because they come from different departments, right? So and there was an opportunity in 2020 when I was actually moved to high performance polymer, whereby I'm dealing with a range of bio-based products, not much in the polymer domain, but I would say in the oleochemicals domain, which are building blocks that goes into flavor and fragrance, cosmetics, and lubricants. So I think this transition was very exciting and promising, especially during the time when the whole world is talking about bio-based and sustainability solutions. So at the end of the 2 years, I think I was very fortunate now that I have a bigger portfolio to look at the business for the same range of products I was handling 2 years ago at the bigger platform, right, in Asia Pacific. So maybe I will move on to the next slide to give you some of my thoughts about my career advice and also working in Arkema. So in sum up, I spent 9 years in Arkema as my first job. I think over the last 9 years, Arkema has grown quite a lot. I have new colleagues like Benjamin and Chris and Mel, right? So I think it is clear that Arkema is growing and we need talents. So I hope that today's session gives you a lot of insights into Arkema. And I think for Singapore is very strategically located because we are at the center heart of Southeast Asia. It's very easy to move around. Although that, we are part of Southeast Asia, but Southeast Asia is very diverse in terms of culture and the way we do business. So over the last 9 years, I learned a lot. It gives me a very good insight and opens up my mind, to the different business culture and ethics in this region, right? And also that you see that I move from one department to another department. And actually there are more business units within Arkema. We have other big major departments like organic peroxides and coatings. So I think the opportunities and the functions available in the future in Arkema, in Singapore and the region definitely will be very great. And I would say that my career advice is that we always need to have a hunger to learn. For me, I'm very being open-minded about the transitions. I move from technical service to sales and business development. Although I was in the beginning a bit reserved whether I can fulfill my duties, but I think Arkema, the culture is very patient with me, and they provide a lot of internal and external training to equip you so that you gain the ability to execute your daily job. So I think over the years, I also see a lot of transition in Arkema, whereby there are a lot of, we call it academy, internal trainings for different functions from supply chain to sales to really, help and equip colleagues with the right skill sets to execute their job. And also, we have yearly appraisal whereby we talk to our direct reporting managers to discuss about the external trainings that we like to have in order for us to be motivated to work and also equally contribute to the company as a whole. And also, I think the last 2 years was very challenging. As Benjamin has mentioned, we all encounter COVID, not just a business challenge, but I think a mental challenge as well. But I do see that Arkema is a very encouraging company. They take care of you. There have been causes run to help us to be mentally strong, to tie over all the challenges that could possibly we face emotionally and from the business context. And they do also send, I would say, gifts and etc. to your doorsteps. And I think that is very heartwarming for me, especially. And I think that is the case for all the colleagues as a whole. So I think that's all for me. And I hope that we have given you a very good overview about each individual of us, what we do, and as a company as a whole. So if you have any questions, please let us know. And if we have time, probably we can answer you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you to our 4 presenters. Each year we do have internship opportunities opening for our students to apply for. It is basically important for us to build our talent pipelines. And with this, we come to the end of this sharing session. I hope our colleagues given you an insights and inspired you to actually join us. I will just drop my email address in this chat group. If you have any questions, feel free to let us know. Okay, it seems like we have no questions. Thank you very much. I hope I can receive your resume someday. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.